Right, so I think it's been recorded now. Commissioner of the TRSBA. Okay, let's set this up. Testing, testing, testing. Okay, good. We're there, we're good. Okay, so let's just set this up. Slideshow from beginning. Okay, share over here. Allow. Okay, share for this one here. Bang. Okay, and away we go. Commissioner of the TRSBA here. So let's have a look here. So welcome to the 2027 early TRSBA Power Rankings. We're still a long way from opening night, but it's inevitably going to look like ridiculous by the end of the season. So we're going to now looking at these projections, projected games, players, minutes, roster depth completed. So the rankings aren't simply based on who the biggest names are factored in projected fantasy production, expected games played, importantly, replacement players where someone's unavailable. We've modelled a 54-game TRSBA regular season, conference schedules, and a 10-point home court advantage. So this is essentially asking two different questions. Who is the strongest roster and who is most likely actually to win games? Those aren't necessarily the same thing. We're going to start with the top 16 projected players. So let's have a look at the top 16 projected players. We've got Luka Doncic at number 1, 49.16. We've got Jokic, 48.93. Giannis is there at 48.79. Victor Wembanyama, 47.54. A fairly significant drop off down to Tatum after that. He's the fifth ranked. SGA, sixth. Edwards, 38.55. Cade Cunningham, 37.99. Joel Embiid, probably limited games though. It says 46 projected, so just remember that. Kawhi's only got 57 projected, but he's going to project it over a good year, 37.68 for those Raptors. Jalen Johnson, 37.08. Cooper Flag, a rookie of the year last year, 36.4. Domantas Sabonis, I'm not sure if he'll return it to 35.94, but that's what they project. Same with Kyrie Irving. I don't predict he'll get to 34.87, but we'll see. Carl Anthony Towns, 34.81. You can bet that. And Jamal Murray, 34.8. So let's have a look at the teams. And we're going to start with the worst ranked team, and that's the BMC. It's you, buddy. It's the Washington Wolfhounds. So someone had to be 16th, but unfortunately it's Washington. They drew the short straw. The Wolfhounds aren't completely devoid of talent. They've got Josh Giddey. They've got an interesting player in Larry Markkinen, who's always a legitimate fantasy player. And they drafted Caleb Wilson at number 4 in the TRSBA draft, and he gives him an exciting young piece. The problem is what happens after that. Compared to the teams we're about to discuss, Washington simply doesn't have enough high-end production. There's all of this 15 to 20 FP material, but not enough players who can single-handedly win matchups or help them win games. They're projected to be the bottom of the league, bottom of the East, and that's justified. It feels more like a development year than a championship year. I hope they kept their number one pick. There's a bit of upside if Wilson explodes earlier than expected. Suddenly, the rebuild has a different complexion. Other players to note: Vucevic, I don't know if he'll be that good, but he's mentioned there. AJ Mitchell, Kamara was a barbarian. Black Diabate, they have got Case and Wallace. So let's look at the 15th team, the Brown Cows. They're an interesting team there. Jalen Brown, DeJounte Murray, and Chet Holmgren, Jaron Jackson, and Jaron Allen. Actually, that's not a bad starting lineup. The issue I've identified is when looking at their depth is that depth and availability. Their full strength team isn't terrible. The problem comes when those players miss games and you're asking the lower level of the roster to replace them. Chet's probably the key. If he takes another leap, he can certainly change that ceiling. Hence, our sophisticated scouting assessment. Chet needs to get wet. For a franchise established back in 2002, the Cows have certainly seen better days, and I don't think they're quite as hopeless as the number 15 ranking initially suggests. Okay, Tar Heel country. Tough, together, ready to stampede. Who's next? The Toronto Flyers at 14. They've got LaMelo Ball, and that's immediately interesting. You've got Conkinipple, who was very close to Rookie of the Year. Zach Edey, hopefully he's healthy. They're projecting him at 71 games. That's okay. No, sorry, 51 games. Boozer, the Rookie of the Year projected, I would say at this stage. Jabari Smith. No, that's not. Yeah, is that? Yeah, I think it's what Jabari Smith Jr. Dylan Harper. There's actually quite a lot of young talent there. The problem is we're projecting 2027, not 2029. Boozer could become a huge piece, but Boozers, rookies, and young players are difficult to project. Edey, enormous fantasy potential if the minutes come. LaMelo can put up monster numbers, but availability does remain important. He was pretty healthy most of last year. Toronto could make this ranking look silly if two of their kids explode simultaneously. For now, they're a fascinating young team sitting right at the bottom of a very tough Western brutal conference. Lions. New York Lions. One of those teams we have to look at individual names and think they should be perhaps be better than they are. They've got Brandon Miller. But if he's your best player, then that's not great. You got Tyler Hero, you got Dyson Daniels, Rudy Gobert, still very old, 34 years old, 27.37 projected. He's going to have to do quite a lot. Jalen Green needs to really jump up. He needs to see the 30 FP ceiling, but he's not there yet. Alex Sarr should also jump up a bit. But again, there's about 40 or 45 point fantasy monster carrying the. There's none of those types carrying the roster. Need to get some better players, some okay players, but no superstars for the New York Lions. Some young athleticism. They've got some transition games, some good 3-point shooters, projected to possibly be 20 and 34, so that's not terrible. The Pride needs a roar, tough together, ready to roar. On to 12, the Predators, the deep pizza Predators, Chicago Predators. The ultimate boom or bust team because everything comes down to Joel Embiid. He's listed to play 46 games. Ben Kero Lillard is projected to come back. Matas Bezelis provides some serious off bench. In particular, is a genuine star. If Embiid somehow gets to 60 games and we get 12th, they'll be better than that. Chicago could rocket up the rankings, but power rankings have to account for the games we expect players to actually play. You can't score fantasy points from the medical room. Chicago's ceiling is therefore dramatically higher than the expected result. I'd say Bezelis is going to be pretty good, probably around that 30 fantasy points a game mark. There's not much else there. Edgecombe's going to have a dip back on that team. Murray Balls is going to get better. I'm not sure about Peterson. I think he'll get better than 2188, but we'll see. I'd say that he should break into the top 100, close to a 500 ball club. But we'll recap those rankings at the end. Onto the 11th Golden State Snipers. We've got Giannis at number 3. And he's projected to get 48.79. Then you've got Kyrie Irving at 34.87. Brandon Ingram, Darius Garland, and Norman Powell there. So Norman Powell's changed teams a few times. Kevin Porter Jr., Miles Turner, Wendell Carter Jr. Can he get enough help from Garland and company? Garland projected to be about a 30 FP sort of guy. They could get better than 9th. It's a tough thing. We're expecting, probably in a tough Western Conference. I wouldn't be surprised if it is 23 and 31. That's if they're in the East, they'd certainly be better, but they're not. The San Francisco Tigers. They are coming back from Tankathon. They tanked their way to get the number 1 pick in AJ Devancer. Last season's record is misleading because they had smashed by injuries. They effectively tanked. Now you've got Sabonis back. You've got Halliburton, he's back. But they've got Barnes always a mainstay, and they've got Ja Morant. I don't know how many games you expect out of Ja, though. That's a formidable. And then they've got AJ Devancer. They've got Kelly O'Ware in a better position. Walker Kessler is back too. He was injured last year. So Derek Queen. This is a good team. This will be tough. They could be better than 10th. So, yeah, they could. Let's have a look at the Jags. King of the Castle. No 49 FP nuclear weapons that are quite good, but it has depth. So that does have depth. Jalen Duran should have a good year, 20 and 10. Amen Thompson, Castle, Michael Porter. I think he'll probably get above 30, but we'll see. That's ambitious for Porzingis, but if he gets those sort of stats good, RJ Barrett, bit of a concern there, but we'll see what happens. I think it was 28. So I'm not sure what happened there with the numbers. Something's happened with him. Weird. Hartenstein, yep. Jeremy Grant, Daron Sharp, Guy Santos, Paul Reed, Morris Johnson going to get minutes. Devin Vassell, downward. So is Paul. So there's some averages there. Young talent. They're going to get some defensive identity. They're going to bring a championship to Cleveland. They're going to bring everything to the table. And then we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Butchers. Cooper Flag, not even 20 yet. Projected to be number 12 in fantasy basketball, or 11 or 12, something like that, to check the numbers. 36.4. That's pretty ridiculous. Denny Abdia, Trey Murphy, Donovan Clingan, De'Aaron Fox provide a balanced supporting cast, which don't necessarily overwhelm you with their household names, but this roster doesn't have too many weaknesses. The projected records, 29 and 25 record, is almost the dead even with Cleveland. This feels like the East genuine swing matchups. Every Cleveland Tampa game could be enormously for playoff seeding, as well as those nerd battles, which we'll talk about soon. Holmes is cutting up the league again. I like Trey Murphy. I think he's going to be pretty good. Denny Abdia's team's a bit more packed. Clingan will elevate. Fox slipping down. So, yeah, fearing that. Anything else there? Ty Jerome should be pretty good. Keegan Murray, it's hard to know, not really a fantasy player. Van Vliet will be back. And we're on to the Eastern Conference nerds. Expect Leonard to be good, very good. LeBron still really good, apparently. Don't know if he'll get 34 minutes a game. I think that's a bit ambitious, but they pretty need players that are going to play, so maybe that is right. Zubac should be okay. Harden is getting older. He's 37. George is 36. McDaniels is 26, and he'll average about the same FP. Peyton Pritchard, 28. Aaron Gordon is 31, a very old 31. OG Anunoby, underrated, says Dan. I agree. Probably should be better than 23.46. Namus Cater, 22.76. PJ Washington. So probably a 32 and 22 record, maybe 31 and 23. I can't remember which one it was. It's something like that. The vets aren't to be messed with. 2 straight in TSBA files, one where they actually did win. The Hurricanes. Where we got Hurricanes, we've got Jokic, we've got Jamal Murray, we've got Bam Adebayo, we've got Donovan Mitchell. So we've got a huge top 4, and then fucking falls off like a cliff. And the cliff arrives. Can a team win with just 4 studs? That's generally the question. Their top 4 can compete with anybody. Jokic alone is projected about number 2. But when injuries hit, schedule gets ugly. New Orleans doesn't have anything like Death Valley's depth. In the playoffs, so that's different. Give me Jokic, Murray, Bam, and Mitchell in a short series. I don't care. Nobody wants the matchup, but they're going to have a similar record to most of the Jags simply because, because it's in the tough West. I'd be interested to see what Yaxel does, but I don't think they'll get much out of those guys. The county doubles again. They got Luca, they got AD, they got Durant, so top heavy, and then it slips off to McCollum. Davis and Durant are aging. Availability matters. They've got a lot of firepower. They've got an unstoppable trio. They've got multiple shot creators, no easy buckets, 2-way versatility. Magic on the court. Um, so yeah, CJ and NAW and Cedric Coward are going to provide some punch. I wonder if Hunter will be able to be good. Projected to win over 30, so they should get there. Another team whose player ceiling could still be higher in the regular season is Luca, the best player in the league. Not sure. I reckon he's one of the best fantasy players in the league. By April, we'll have a different answer than we do today. Utah Saints, fourth ranked team. Look at that. Nice, beautiful picture there. D, hey. SGA, what are the rankings? Sixth, Jalen Johnson at 12, and Trey Young at 32. A bit of a slip there down to 32.75. Evan Mobley, a big step up to 32. Six legitimate fantasy weapons with Keontae George and Zion Williamson. Zion just doesn't appear to want to get any better. Jemski, Miles Bridges down to about the 100th best player, 23.55. Probably 31 or 32 wins, I think, here. Will GM Dennis make any moves? He doesn't make a lot of moves, really. It's very limited. They could win up to 35 games, make them a serious contender if they do. Zion needs to be healthy, projected to play about 30 minutes a game. And then we're on to the Alabama Wild Boars. Tatum's back, and I don't know. They didn't look quite like this last year, but they did have a good regular season. Obviously not very good come playoff time. They might be the best team constructed to win the regular season. They could have the best record in the league. That's quite possible. Ignore the ranking of 32-22. I think it's more like 40 and 14, I think, with this team. So that's just an AI thing, so don't worry about that. But tough, the physical, they're relentless, the balanced scoring, multiple threats, defend together, win together. They've got Reeves, their third best player. Julius Randle's pretty good. Derek White, yeah, he's decent as well. Naz Reid, these guys have to step up. Zach Levine, Tobias Harris, Josh Hart. So there's a couple of top heavy guys. Those two top guys are going to have to play lots of games and be good. Reeves is going to have to be really good as well. East schedule helps them. But don't make a mistake, they aren't elite. They certainly are. Ken Tatum's return lead them to the East title and potentially a Trsba title. Yes, they're probably my Eastern Conference favourite at the moment. Yeah. Team two, the champs, I think, depends. Yeah, they've got Cody. They've got a great player in Kobe White, sorry. Should win about 37 and 17. That seems right to me. Cade Cunningham, Carl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, Jalen Brunson, Shingun. That's really have that many players that are going to get five of those players between 33 and 40 FP. It's really good. I like Kobe White to be about 29 as well. Bain should be 25, 26 on Yekra Kongu. So that's very good. They won the title because they were healthy. They were projected to probably win earlier. The model says they're not quite number one entering into the season, but they're right there. But the trophy says everyone else still has to prove it. So they run the show, they hold the ring. This is just a great graphic. I love it. Elite talent, elite chemistry, championship DNA, built to repeat. They are. And we'll finish we'll get the number one team. The Barbs, Wemby. Often number one teams in these rankings. Wembanyama, 47.52, Maxi, 34, Curry, 34, Siakam, 31, Jalen Williams, about 31, Franz, about 29. Then you've got Rollins, Watson, and Asar Thompson. The full strength weighted best lineup came to about 246.7. But the more important number is in the injury and availability adjusted. It's still 229, so that's still pretty good. That's a roster resilience. They're not dependent on one player. Curry could miss, Franz could miss, and they can miss games and the lineup doesn't really collapse. That's why the number one. The question is whether this becomes the beginning of another Death Valley dynasty, or whether the Pens remind everyone that championships aren't won in spreadsheets. Can the dynasty start again? And we're going to go over the projected standings to finish things up. So Alabama hit 40 and 14, Red Devils 32-22, Tampa Bay, Cleveland about the same, Predators, Lions, North Carolina, and the Wolfhounds. In the West, Barbs should have the same sort of record as the Tigers, Saints 35-19, I reckon. Orange County 30-24, Hurricanes 28-26, Snipers 23-31. So Tigers similar, Toronto 16-38. So it's a weird one, but that's how I've done the rankings. We've got a 54 game regular season. I think there's 16 interconference games, 38 interconference ones. 27 home, 27 away, 10 FP home court advantage, best nine, etc. Top. So we've done all the things. We've broken everything down. We've got all the stats. I really hope that's been really good. I think I've worked really hard on this. I think it looks fantastic. It's coming out great. Let me know your thing. Let me know your feedback.